Welcome to Belated Tech's 49th short for space exploration, science, and technology. The Mars Perseverance Rover, what the agency calls the largest, most advanced rover it has ever sent to another world, touched down on Mars on February 18, 2021. The Mars Perseverance Rover was lifted to space on July 30, 2020 atop an Atlas V rocket from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station's Launch Complex 41, 3 days before the scheduled splashdown of the Demo 2 Dragon 2 manned spacecraft. The probe then traversed 293 million miles of space in 203 days. Acting NASA Administrator Steve Jurczyk said, quote, "This landing is one of those pivotal moments for NASA and space exploration globally, when we know we are on the cusp of discovery and sharpening our pencils, so to speak, to rewrite the textbooks. The Mars 2020 Perseverance mission embodies our nation's spirit of persevering even in the most challenging of situations, inspiring and advancing science and exploration. The mission itself personifies the human ideal of persevering toward the future and will help us prepare for human exploration of the Red Planet." About the size of a car, the 2,260-pound, 10-foot by 9-foot by 7-foot robotic geologist and astrobiologist will undergo several weeks of testing before it begins its 2-year scientific investigation of Mars' Jezero crater. While the rover will investigate the rock and sediment of Jezero's ancient lake bed and river delta to characterize the region's geology and past climate, a fundamental part of its mission is astrobiology, including the search for signs of ancient microbial life. The rover carries 43 tubes to hold rock and soil samples collected after Perseverance's landing. The vehicle will place the tubes on the surface of Mars for retrieval by another robotic mission, which will bring the specimens back to Earth. That mission isn't expected before 2026. The rover was sent on a nearly 7-month journey to the Red Planet with not only the usual payload of scientific instruments, but a flying drone that will, if it works as designed, be the first operational aircraft deployed to another world. NASA Associate Administrator for Science Thomas Zerbichent said, quote, "Because of today's exciting events, the first pristine samples from carefully documented locations on another planet are a step closer to being returned to Earth. Perseverance is the first step in bringing back rock and regolith from Mars. We don't know what these pristine samples from Mars will tell us, but what they could tell us is monumental, including that life may have once existed beyond Earth." Some 28 miles wide, Jezero crater sits on the western edge of Isidis Planetidia, a giant impact basin just north of the Martian equator. Scientists have speculated that 3.5 billion years ago the crater had its own river delta and was filled with water. Lori Glaze, director of NASA's Planetary Science Division, alluded to the need to return samples to Earth by saying, quote, "Perseverance is the most sophisticated robotic geologist ever made, but verifying that microscopic life once existed carries an enormous burden of proof. While we'll learn a lot with the great instruments we have on board the rover, it may very well require the far more capable laboratories and instruments back here on Earth to tell us whether our samples carry evidence that Mars once harbored life." In a quick note, we hope you have been enjoying our content. Have we earned your subscription to our channel? If yes, and you have not taken the opportunity as of yet to subscribe, please take a moment to do so now, and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss upcoming videos. We want to continue delivering great content to you. You can always unsubscribe, and subscribing is free. If it seems like there are an unusual number of Mars missions arriving on site, it isn't your imagination. NASA's Perseverance rover is only the third such mission, following the July 19, 2020 takeoff of the Hope orbiter developed by the United Arab Emirates in partnership with scientists at 3 U.S. universities, and the July 23, 2020 launch of China's Tianwen-1 orbiter, which also has on board a lander and a rover. The Hope orbiter arrived on February 9th. The Tianwen-1 orbiter arrived the next day. NASA's 2 Viking landers in 1976 marked the beginning of a series of missions to explore the Mars environment and determine whether the planet's past was warmer and wetter, with possibly even rudimentary life present. Those missions didn't find any signs of life, fossilized or otherwise, but they did confirm that the Mars surface is habitable, in a fashion. This was an important consideration given the upcoming manned Mars missions, tentatively slated for the 2030s. NASA says it spent more than $2.4 billion to design, build, and prepare the Mars 2020 mission for launch. After factoring in the rover's transit time to Mars and its roughly 700-day planned operational time on the planet itself, the total mission cost is expected to be $2.7 billion. Some of the rover's mission parameters are explained in detail in the following segment.
Mars is the closest place that we can reach with robotic exploration that we think had a really good chance of having ancient life.
The Perseverance rover will land at a location called Jezero Crater. Jezero Crater is a very interesting place. It's a crater that once held a lake.
There are a lot of craters on the surface of Mars that could have once hosted ancient lakes, but not every crater that we think had a lake actually preserves evidence that that lake was there.
It had an inflow channel and it had an outflow channel. That means it was filled. The crater was filled with water.
In Jezero, we have probably one of the most beautifully preserved delta deposits on Mars in that crater.
The major goal of the Perseverance mission is to investigate astrobiology on Mars, and in particular, to address the question of whether life ever existed on Mars. The Perseverance rover starts with a design that's very similar to Curiosity, but we've added to it a whole new set of science instruments. And these science instruments were purposefully selected to help us in the search for biosignatures.
We're going to be taking microphones with us. For the first time, we're going to have that human sense on another planet.
Perseverance carries with her a grand experiment in spacefaring technology, a helicopter, the name of which is now Ingenuity.
One of the major upgrades that Perseverance has from Curiosity is that it's able to self-drive for a distance of up to 200 meters per day. As the rover is driving, it's literally building the map of the road it's driving on Mars.
Scientists for years have told us that to really unlock the secrets of Mars, we have to bring samples from Mars back to Earth.
So what Mars 2020 is going to do is to drill samples, put them in small tubes. We're going to seal it in its own individual tube. We set them on the surface to provide a target for the second two missions, which hopefully will get in development in the next several years and could potentially get the samples back to Earth by 2031.
Perseverance is a very, very profound first step in both our understanding of our place in the universe and a stepping stone towards human exploration on Mars.
Once the rover is on Mars and powers up its science instruments, one of its first tasks will be to place the drone, called Ingenuity, onto the surface. Perseverance will release the 4-pound rotorcraft and then drive away to a distance of at least 350 feet before the helicopter flies for the first time. Ground controllers will program the helicopter to perform a series of test flights during a planned 30-day campaign, beginning with a relatively simple up and down flight lasting less than 30 seconds, and then at various distances and elevations as the drone's operational capabilities are confirmed. In this concluding segment, Drone Helicopter Project Manager Mimi Ung provides some context for the drone's mission.
Mars Helicopter Tech Demo is motivated by the potential of adding the aerial dimension to space exploration. In the future, a helicopter can serve as a scout for rovers and astronauts. A helicopter can get us to places of high scientific interest that cannot be reached today. It's not easy to build a rotorcraft for flight at Mars. The atmosphere there is very thin, about 1% compared to that at Earth. So a helicopter for Mars has to be very light and have a rotor system that can spin very fast. Behind me is the full-scale model of Mars helicopter Ingenuity. It's very light, 1.8 kilograms, about 4 pounds. It's capable of flying through the thin atmosphere of Mars and is capable of surviving and operating autonomously.
Who do you think will benefit most from the Mars Perseverance mission? Will it be SpaceX or NASA? Are there any important contributing details about the UAE and China Mars missions that we should have included? Share with us by dropping a comment below. We hope you enjoyed this 49th short about space and tech on the Belated Tech channel. If so, click that like button. You can peruse our entire 200+ video library by looking at our playlists, which conveniently sorts videos by subject. We announce all new videos in our microblogging accounts, which are listed below, as well as in the community feed for this channel. Want to know how to navigate our channel content? we refer to retrotech and innovation documentary segments as episodes. Coverage of current events in space exploration, science, and technology are labeled as shorts. Space and tech history are documented in an anthology called Milestones. And gameplay recordings can be discovered on the Belated Tech Gaming channel in videos called Walkthroughs and Side Missions. Stay connected by occasionally checking our Instagram feed, where we post content from our upcoming episodes and from episodes past that you may have missed. And finally, join us on our Facebook and Minds page, where we cover current news and events related to channel content. Thanks for watching.